Hello! So I ended up getting a Mora knife because lots of people recommended one to me, and at the moment I've just got the holster for it, scabbard in my belt, or the sheath, whatever you want to call it, but very, very impressed with it. I just bought the cheapest one that was available, which I think is called the Mora Basic. It had an actual number after that, but I can't remember, and looking online at the Mora catalogue, a lot of the Mora Basics look really similar. As far as I'm aware, this is the stainless steel Mora Basic, and they also do a carbon steel Mora Basic, so as far as I'm aware they look exactly the same. This one's got a carbon steel blade, this is the stainless one. Now, something that really impressed me of this blade was how sharp it came from the factory. You know, it's one of those blades that is almost shaving sharp really out of the box, which is really impressive, because I'm really used to getting knives and having to spend ages sharpening them because it's a really inconsistent grind on it, or, you know, just not sharp at all in places. But no, very, very impressive. So it's a 3.2 inch blade as far as I'm aware. I've not actually got out a measurement to measure it, but I'm sure that's accurate. And it kind of reminds me a bit more of a kitchen knife than an outdoor knife, to be honest. Apparently Mora say these are kind of for like workmen, so it's for doing various, I guess, construction work kind of jobs. But obviously you can use these as outdoor survival knives fairly well and everything. You can baton wood with them, but from everything I've heard is that Mora knives eventually break when you baton too much wood with them. Obviously they are very cheap knives anyway, but I guess it's one of those things you should do very rarely if you do it. Because from what I understand it's not a full tang in here, it's quite a thin one when it gets to the end of the blade, well, the actual handle. So the handle's just some sort of plastic, feels fairly tough, very easy to grip. It's obviously got the grip marks there, it's got a nice bit for your hand to sit in there, so you can keep your thumb either further back like that or along the back of the blade like that. No sharpening on the back of the blade, but obviously very sharp edge to the blade there. See, there's a little bit of dirt in it I need to clean off that I've got on there from using it. Now I'll get some cardboard now to demonstrate cutting with this, but as I said, this really impressed me how sharp this was out of the box, so let me go get some cardboard. Right, so here's the cardboard Amazon packaging it came in. Let's start cutting it with the knife. So this isn't obviously a great angle to be cutting at, but hopefully you can see that has absolutely no problem whatsoever getting into that cardboard. I know cardboard's obviously not the strongest thing in the world to demonstrate cutting with, but it does impress me just how well this knife does it with a factory sharpening. So it cuts it very cleanly, and as said, obviously, yeah, there's a lot of other uses for this other than cutting cardboard, but what really did impress me, I can't stress enough, is how sharp and consistently sharp this came out of the packet. As I said, I'm used to buying loads of knives, especially ones a lot more expensive than this, where it's a very inconsistent sharpness done to the blade. Let me put it into the holster, and then let me show you how it looks if I get off my belt. Right, here we go. So this is the little scabbard it comes in, or sheath. As you can see on the back it says Mora, made in Sweden. It's Mora Basic 546 is the actual answer to it, but you just kind of look through the Mora catalogue and pick one you like. The numbers don't mean much because they have no, you know, relation to the blade length or anything as far as I'm aware. Made in Sweden on the back. It says it on the blade as well. Right, the sheath's quite interesting. It's just one where the blade kind of pops in like that. When it's in, there's a bit of wobble there, but it's quite consistent. But it seems you'd have to shake it quite hard upside down to get it to fall out. So, but it pulls out very easily when you actually want the knife. Anyway, so there's several ways you can use this. You can put it onto your belt with this, or like a deep pocket with this pocket clip. So the idea is it's like a normal belt loop here, but it opens up at the bottom, so you can actually take it on and off the belt without undoing your belt, which is really handy. That's what I've been doing to wear it. You can attach, I think, string around here and have it kind of tied around your neck. That would be a good way of wearing it as well if you just wanted it hanging around like that. The other interesting thing it has is this button clip. So how this works is you push this bit in here, and then you can slide it onto a button, slide it down, and then the clip holds it onto the button. Now I've tried that. It works alright on some of my jackets, not on others. The buttons have to be kind of the right size for it to work. I guess it's designed more to work with like flannel shirts that are buttoned like that. But the issue is obviously this is the winter at the moment. I'm not going to be wearing shirts like that with no jumper or jacket over them. So I think it's a nice thing it's included, because if you don't use it, you don't use it. You still got your belt loop. I mean, obviously you could just shove it into a pocket as is, if you've got a deep pocket, and yeah, it will sit absolutely fine in a pocket as well. But yeah, thanks for recommending these to me. I've had several people recommend, not necessarily recommend this model of Mora, but people keep saying check out Mora knives, all this blah blah blah. And yeah, I am very impressed with it. I know other people who've had Mora knives and been impressed with them, and I've known they've been around for ages. I've just never bothered picking one up, because I never quite realised just how cheap they were, to be honest. But this one was about £8 on Amazon. £8 for a stainless steel knife that comes very, very sharp from the factory. Obviously well made, very simple but well made. You know, and does its job. It's a bit like an Open-L, where you know, they don't cost much, but you get a very good blade for the price, where you're almost buying it for the blade, not the handle or any stupid gimmicks with it. So Moras do them in all sorts of lengths. As far as I'm aware, this is one of the shortest ones. They do some more expensive knives where they've got fancier handles and that, but for the most part, I think you're just going to get one of these if you just want a very practical, cheap knife that you can kind of abuse a bit, and then if it breaks you just get another Mora knife that's the same model or a different model. What they did do that might interest me in getting in the future is you can get one that has something like an 8-inch blade, which kind of seems almost like a mini machete knife. Now, they've got a couple of models, because one of the things I was reading about was that the problem is Mora do some discontinued knives, and with these discontinued knives the prices fluctuate quite a lot and they get quite expensive, and a lot of people buy them and then complain that the knife doesn't seem very good for like the $80 or whatever they spent on it. That's because the knife was never meant to retail at that price. They were originally like $20 knives, and because supply demand, some people still want to get them, and you know, there's not many around, so the prices go up of anywhere that's got any left for sale. So make sure you do check around properly when getting a Mora, to know the kind of price you need to be paying for it. I also like this how bright blue. I mean, it's not a bright blue and it's not dark blue. If you consider I've got a navy jumper on, this is sort of, it's brighter than navy blue, but it's not really bright blue. But the thing is, you'd see that easily if you dropped it in the grass or something like that, especially if it being blue, not green. A lot of them just have black handles, some of them have the fluorescent orange ones as well. But yeah, very impressed with this, very easy to handle and obviously use if you needed to use it for whatever reason. So I'm not saying do anything stupid with it, I'm just saying if you needed to use it in self-defense and you were carrying it, you could probably do that. But obviously it's very, very good at its actual job of being used simply for random outdoorsmanship. Sort of imagine skin animals this fairly well, gut fish with it. I think these are just designed as saying to not be for one specific task. They can do everything to an okay thing. I was whittling a bit of wood with it earlier as well. That works absolutely fine. Very easy to cut wood with these. But yeah, very impressed with this Mora knife. I can understand why they're so popular in Sweden, especially because they're apparently even cheaper to buy because they're like a domestic product. So yeah, Mora knives seem very, very good. I'm very happy with this one, and I might get some more if I spot particular models that look interesting, but for the most part it seems a lot of these are just basically you can get each blade in carbon or stainless, and it's just each one has a slightly different blade length, this being one of the more basic ones, but again it's about 3.2 inches. So sadly this wouldn't be legal for UK legal carry because the blade's over 3 inches. I'm also not sure how the legal carry law sits with sort of fixed blades, you know, like traditional knives rather than folding blades, but again, it completely depends what you're doing with it, because we have justifiable excuse here, and it depends how the copper's feeling on the day, I guess, if you're caught carrying it. I'm not obviously saying you should be carrying this at all if you're in an urban place or something like that, but it's just a couple of inches over the legal limit, so I think it would really come down to the copper more than anything. But yeah, very, very impressed with it. I'll give it a bit of a polish in a minute because it's annoying me that I've got a brand new shiny knife and I've got a bit of dirt on it already. But yeah, for the price, like I say, £8, these are pretty amazing. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them on a few other sort of like sports shops, places. So I guess pick a size you like and just get one that's within the £10 to £20 price range rather than going for the super expensive out of production ones. But yeah, the Mora knives seem very, very good.